Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. Today we're going to give you a real quick pond update, and then we've got to make a couple of very minor repairs. So this is what the pond looks like today. You can see the water level has definitely come up since the last time. Actually, what I'll do is I'll walk right over here and give you a comparison, what it looks like now versus what it looked like the last time we did a pond update. But we just went through probably 3 weeks of no rain, and the water level didn't drop at all. And it was pretty warm. I think in a couple of videos I complained about 82 degrees and pretty low humidity, and the water level didn't drop at all. Granted, we've got the siphon coming in that's putting in about 4 gallons a minute, but I think that was pretty much just staving off evaporation and kind of holding steady. Again, this is coming from a creek, and we just have a siphon running about 400 yards buried underground and coming from a creek right over that way there, washing right in here, putting about 4 gallons a minute. Like I said, that was enough to maintain the water level of the pond through evaporation and no rain. And then since then we've gotten a couple of rains, and the pond has since come up, I don't know, another 6-8 inches. I'll try to come down here without falling in so I can give you that before and after shot. So yeah, before I think we were sitting about right here, and this is what that shot looked like. And then if you look at it now, you can definitely tell the water level has come up pretty significantly. I think the highest water mark we've ever seen on the pond was last January, and it was just above where the standpipe comes up out of the dam. So I'd say we're probably 12 inches away from the high water mark that the pond has ever seen. I'm really hoping the next 3 or 4 weeks we're going to get quite a bit of rain, and maybe before Christmas we'll see this thing full. I don't know. It just all comes down to how much rain we get. Regardless of whether the pond is full or not, assuming we get a cold enough winter, we're definitely got enough surface area here to ice skate this winter. But I did want to walk around to the sand dam that keeps, all the sand from washing into the rest of the pond for the beach area. And I wanted to show you that comparison as well, because the last time we did a pond update, you could see quite a bit of it, and I'll show that before video as well and show you how far underwater it is right now. You can tell we haven't had much rain lately, because usually when we get a lot of rain, the pond will get, the water clarity will go down because it's just stirring up so much. But if you actually zoom in there, you can actually see the sand dam, which is under probably 8 or 10 inches of water. So the water is very clear right now, which is a pretty good sign that we haven't had a lot of rain lately, just because everything is all settled to the bottom, and the only thing that's in the water right now is the pond dye. One other thing we're going to need to do here sooner rather than later is get another triaxle load of sand, because right there's the sand dam, and we hit this area pretty heavy with sand earlier this fall, but the water level is starting to creep up, and we really need to get the rest of this covered in sand, so that way we're not having to throw sand in blindly and trying to get the beach area shaped up. So hopefully here in another week or two, we'll get a triaxle load of sand and get this beach area finished out. So that's the update on the pond and the water level. Now let's talk about the repairs we're going to be making. Now, when you see the excavator parked to the pond here, you might get the wrong idea, but I promise you it's not what it looks like. Most of what we're going to be doing is to the French drain here. And we talked about this a couple months ago, some issues we're having with this French drain. When we get a real heavy rain, we will actually... This French drain has a 4-inch pipe in it, and it will get overrun. So what happens is we've got all of this acreage up here that is draining down into this valley, hitting the French drain, and then it runs through the gravel into the perforated pipe. And right here we transition from gravel and perforated pipe to clay and solid pipe. So that water is then forced into the solid pipe and runs down. Well, when we get so much rain, that 4-inch pipe gets overrun, and it'll actually start to bubble up out of the ground there. Well, the French drain is working to catch all the water, but as soon as it hits that dam of clay there, it bubbles back up because that 4-inch line is getting overrun. That was a heck of a rainstorm. And washing away all my clay we just put in, down to just bare rock again. So what that has done is when that water bubbles up out of the French drain, it then washes down here, and it has eroded some of that clay liner that we had put in a couple months ago. And now we've got these wash ruts in the side of the pond. So the repairs we're gonna be making here in this video is kind of twofold. First is we're gonna be putting in, you can see I've got the pipe sitting up there. We've got a 4-inch in there now, but we also got some more 6-inch pipe. So we're gonna actually double up and we're gonna have the 4-inch and the 6-inch buried in here. So we're gonna dig this up, lay the 6-inch pipe beside it, and that should hopefully handle any amount of water that comes off of that hillside. And then once we have that issue taken care of, then we're gonna go ahead and get another triaxle load of clay and reshape this up, get it all packed back in, because you can see these wash ruts, I mean, they start right there and just all along here to about right here. And some of these ruts are pretty deep. I mean, that one there is every bit of 12, 14 inches deep. So get this all shaped back up. The last thing I want to have happen is, you know, we fixed the entire bottom of the pond, but we had some wash ruts here that allowed water to get underneath that clay liner blanket and caused it all to continue to leak because we were one triaxle load short and didn't get this shaped back up. All right, well, the hard part is all done. Now all we got left to do is lay the pipe, backfill. But you know, as you're running the machine and digging out a ditch, your mind starts to wander a little bit. And I was just thinking, a year ago, neighbor Doug was over here giving me a hand putting in this French drain. And that's where I kind of learned how to dig a ditch. And you know, I'm just sitting in the cab of the machine, just being real grateful that neighbor Doug takes the time to come over here and teach me these things. I mean, digging a ditch is not complicated, but there's some tips and tricks that he showed me that make it a lot easier along the way. For instance, as you're digging, flat bottom bucket the whole thing. That way you've got a nice flat base to walk in when you're laying your pipe. Curl all your spoils back in and clear those out too, so you've got a nice even space to walk on the sides of the ditch. And then all your spoils, don't just set them right on the side of the ditch, move them 2 to 3 feet over so you can walk on both sides. Just little dumb stuff like that that I would not have known and been fighting every time I go to dig a ditch, but now for the rest of my life I know how to do that. So I think we're gonna call today National Neighbor Doug Appreciation Day. All right, so now we've got the new 6-inch pipe in there and the ditch is all still opened up. So I thought I'd give you a quick rundown of how this is all gonna work. So you can see the old 4-inch SDR 35. This is 6-inch sewer and drain pipe. And what we've got going on here is right there's that elbow I was telling you about that goes up to the perforated pipe that's in the gravel. And then on this side, we've got a sewer and drain screen cap. So what we'll do is we'll build that clay dam right here and backfill all of this with good, clean, washed gravel. That way all the water can flow freely through the gravel. It'll get into that 4-inch pipe. And if that 4-inch pipe ever gets overrun again like it did before, instead of bubbling up to the surface and running down and eroding the inside of the pond, it'll bubble up and hit that 6-inch, almost like an emergency overflow. So anyway, that's the whole idea here. I hope that makes sense. We're gonna go ahead and start getting this backfilled. All right, here's one more look now that it's all backfilled. Again, if that 4-inch pipe ever got overrun like it did in that video I showed you earlier, that clay wall right there is going to force the water to bubble up. And instead of now bubbling up to the surface and running across the surface, it should then hit that secondary pipe and wash down into the pond. It would take a heck of a rainstorm to overflow the 4-inch pipe and the 6-inch pipe. So in theory, our erosion problem should be solved on the side of the pond. So now that we theoretically have all of our surface erosion problems fixed, it's time to go ahead and order that triaxle load of clay we were talking about and get all of those wash ruts filled back in. So at this point, you may be wondering, all right, Adam, you've got your surface runoff erosion taken care of. What about the water that's going to be coming in from the pipe? Isn't that just going to do the same thing? Well, as you can see, I've got that taken care of as well. I'm going to actually create kind of a water feature here. The black plastic mat will keep the water from eroding the side of the pond dam, and then we're going to add some rocks on top of it to make it not look so ugly. The rocks are obviously just going to be for decoration, and with water not running constantly, it's not going to be a waterfall, but when it is raining, you'll probably see water running down through these rocks. Well, there we go, guys. We got our emergency overflow in our French drain. We got these ugly, hideous black corrugated pipe out from running into the side of the pond. We still have one for the siphon. That's one more thing I need to probably do, is get that pipe routed and tie it into over here as well. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Either one of two things. Either we're a one-trick pony, or we really like landscaping with rocks. And I think it might be a little bit of both. But this came out really well. We've got the black plastic all the way down to about the water level. And I didn't need to go all the way down to the water level with the rocks, because that's all going to be, you know, hopefully as the rain comes, the water level comes up, and this is all going to be underwater anyway. So we probably went a little further down than we actually needed to, but we've got that black plastic from the water level all the way tucked in underneath these three pipes here. One is a spring, that one is the French drain, and then now that is the French drain overflow. So yeah, I think we're ready to bring on the rain. We got all of those ruts filled in and packed in with the excavator. So bring on the rain. Tomorrow we are supposed to get, I think they're calling for a 1/2 inch during the day and a 1/4 inch at night. So tomorrow's gonna be a pretty good rain day. I'm hoping to do possibly another pond update after tomorrow, more or less a French drain update, but we'll see what an inch of rain does for the water level of the pond. But anyway, I think that's gonna about wrap this one up. If you enjoyed this one and you wanna see if everything we just did is actually gonna work, or if it was a giant waste of time, I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.